Sebring, and we want to welcome back Paradise to the Sebring Airport and back to the USA. That's great. Glad to have you back. It's different than it was before now, because now it's a factory-owned outlet here in Sebring, Florida.
Yes,
and that's a big deal. There's still Paradise in Brazil, still operating, still building airplanes. This is Noe, the designer and proprietor of the company. Rogério assisting him from Brazil, both gentlemen from Brazil. Thank you for coming. And Bert Motoyama is going to be running the U.S. operation.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about what the plans are, Bert, and what's going on right now with Paradise in the United States.
Well, Paradise in the United States, at the moment, we are receiving shipments from the factory in Brazil. We are assembling them at our facility here at Sebring. But the plans are to manufacture this aircraft entirely in Sebring, in the United States, out of U.S. sourced parts.
Okay, so it's going to start with you bringing in airplanes that are already manufactured in Brazil.
Right.
And doing the typical importer kind of thing, but that's not the way it's going to stay.
No.
You're going to build all the parts, or the components, I suppose, will come in from Brazil, which you can do under the ASTM standard.
Right. For a time, but eventually we want to manufacture this aircraft from scratch.
Okay, all right. Well, that's kind of a big deal then. That's a big change. When did all this occur? You've been looking for a while for a facility in the U.S. When did all this happen?
Just recent. Well, Noah's always had his eye on the States. He's always wanted to return here. This started last year. He started surveying some sites. He's been to several different airports looking for a proper facility, and eventually, due to the proximity of the Sebring Air Show here, plus this is a free trade zone. So
now, why is that important? Because if you're just bringing in airplanes for the United States, that's not a big deal. You have bigger plans than that, I understand.
Yes, export. The plan is to eventually export this aircraft worldwide. So that's where the free trade zone comes in.
So the idea here, let me repeat, is Paradise from Brazil is in the United States and will keep manufacturing in Brazil, but will also eventually manufacture in the United States for the U.S., but also for export to other countries.
Yes, sir. It was felt that it would be a lot easier to sell worldwide with Made in the USA stamp on the aircraft.
Okay. Well, that's very exciting. We'll follow your plans as those continue to unfold. We understand that right now it's bringing airplanes in, and you've got one of them right here, which I'd like to go look at in a little more detail.
Okay.
Let's go do that. You know, Bert, among all the airplanes in the LSA space, I can only think of one other one. It's the Jabiru that has 3 doors on it.
Right.
And here we've got the newest version. This is now the P1NG, like next generation, right?
Right, exactly.
The one we knew before that had slightly different appearance to it was the P1.
Yes.
And the company makes several other airplanes. We can talk about that another time, but this is the new one now. This is the one you're going to build here in the USA eventually, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And let's go look at the doors, if you wouldn't mind ducking under the wing, and let's pop the doors open for everybody so they can see what it is.
It's a full-size door, as you can see.
Even with a latch on the inside, I see. So it's not just a cargo door. It's more than that. Okay. And let's open the front one then. I'm going to close this one a little bit just so you can see it better when he opens the front one. And you can see as he opened it there, the door has a little bit of a bubble effect to it, so it gives it even greater room inside the airplane.
It is wider. It's wider than the old P1.
It is. Okay. So this is a substantially new airframe then.
Yes.
All right. Well, Bert, I'd like you to, if you would come back over here,
Sure.
I'd like you to show me, we've got a selection of luggage here that wouldn't go in very many light sports, and Bert is going to load this in the airplane for us. I'll help you out, giving you another one here. So one big bag for the missus, one small bag for we guys that don't need as much stuff.
For the guys.
And then you want to go play a couple of games here too. Can all of this fit in there?
Without a problem.
And not only that, there's still room to spare. I have to look inside myself. That didn't hardly take up that whole baggage area.
No, there's room for fishing gear. if you like fishing.
So the only real limitation is just how much weight you can put in there relative to the useful loading and the payloads and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Well, that's really quite remarkable. I always thought that was a nice advantage for the Jabiru folks, but this airplane has even more room in it. I understand that because of the 4-seat model is why you have all this space here. Now, not in the United States, but in Brazil, there's a 4-seat version of this.
Yes, there is.
Called the P4.
P4.
So, logically. And basically, you're just kind of using the space where there were a couple of seats back here.
Yes.
And now you have all the room in the world. But loading a lot of light sport airplanes is frankly kind of a pain in the neck.
Right.
And here, I mean, that was some big bags that went in there. So that works out pretty well. Excellent. Well, let's go have a look at the rest of the airplane.
Okay.
We're now inside the P1NG, the next generation of the P1. Getting in was a little easier. Why did I feel that, Bert?
We've made the entrance a little higher so you don't have to stoop as low.
Before it came down a little lower, did it?
Right.
Okay. And the opening of the door is
a little wider. You'll notice the windows are longer to give you better visibility.
Yeah, I noticed that when I'm in here, and now I've got the door closed. First of all, it's also a little bit bowed out. I've got a little more room here.
Yes, it is wider.
I can see practically underneath me, so that's a real advantage to this. I've always liked the way the interior was done. Has it been changed much?
It has. Slight changes, but I think they're important. Due to the size of Americans as far as being taller, they've made the seat where you can set it back further.
You can't even reach the pedals.
Right. So it slides back for the long-legged people.
So we've adjusted the seats, which you can do in flight, and there's a lever on the outside of each seat near the door panels where the seats adjust fore and aft. And you can see this one is well forward. I'm chewing my knees. Bert is still stretching to try and reach both pedals. But I want to show you something else that the seats can do, because this is a really nice feature to it. I can pull a handle also on the outside, and I can go all the way back in this airplane. If I had the seat back as well as lowering the back seat back, I could take a snooze on flight while Bert did all the hard work here. That looks pretty good. Let's talk about some more about the interior of the airplane, Bert. Anything else that you want to point out to us, as if we were someone new to the Paradise experience?
Okay, basically the panel would come standard as the old P1 models. What they've added were these.
You got some nice visors. You got some air inlets right here, I see.
And a sunglass case.
And a sunglasses case, and a place to put your headsets.
To hang your headsets. This comes in very handy.
So there's some very nice finished features to the airplane. And one thing that I like to point out about the airplane is so many light sports are are joystick controlled, and that's great. I like joysticks, but for an awful lot of pilots, a yoke is a more familiar control mechanism. And there's an argument about it each way. You can get a full deflection of the controls without having to bump into your legs with the joystick. And of course, dual controls on both sides. Do we have brakes on both sides, Bert?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so we're using toe brakes here.
Right.
And they are differential then?
Yes.
Okay, so the aids with the steering. Is the nose wheel steerable?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, Bert, well, that's great. Thanks for all the information about the new Paradise P1NG. Now, we've given a lot of information, but people always have more questions, or maybe they're ready to buy. How do they get a hold of you on the web in the United States now?
Our website address is Paradise Aircraft USA.com, and we have a link at that web address to the factory site in Brazil,
where you can read about all their many airplanes. You can find lots more about affordable aviation on my website. That's bydanjohnson.com. Thanks for joining Noe, Rogerio, and Bert Yonoama and myself here at Sebring.